It's been 13 weeks since PlayStation Portal owners got access to cloud game streaming, but what's it really like to use every day? Is it a game changer or just another overhyped feature? After months of hands-on testing, I've got the honest truth, both the good and the bad, so let's dive in. So let's have a brief history lesson about cloud game streaming on the PlayStation Portal, because before that arrived, all you could do was remote play and you needed a PlayStation 5. So you would connect this to your PlayStation 5 and then stream games which were installed on your PlayStation 5 console to the screen on the portal. Now, since we've had this new update which allows cloud game streaming, there's a few big changes there. One, you don't actually need a PlayStation 5. That's the big one there. No PlayStation 5 is required. All you need is a PlayStation Plus premium subscription. And number two, there's this whole library of games available for you to play on your portal anywhere. You don't need to install them onto your PlayStation, which is fantastic because it makes things a little bit quicker. Pick your game, hit stream, and then it launches. Your way to go. What did I just pick there? Ice Age Scratch Nutty Adventure? What the f***? So this update was launched 13 weeks ago on the 20th of November in Europe. And it's been met with, I would say, overall positive vibes. But there has been some negative reports of players not being able to get their games to work. The big one, which I saw under loads of my videos, was comments saying they cannot get Grand Theft Auto 5 to run. So some users are having issues, some are not. If you've had any issues launching games, let me know in the comments. So that's a little background history of what the PlayStation Portal was like and where we are now. So what has changed? Well, one thing is a lot more PlayStation 5 games have been added to the cloud streaming library. It's well north of 200 now. Every month we get a new batch dropped here on the channel, which I cover off. So if you want to stay up to date with all things PlayStation Portal, make sure you subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below. But that's not all that's changed. We've had some performance improvements as well with each update. That's each software update on the portal. Things just seem to run a little bit better. It's quite difficult to actually capture and detail the difference. So one big thing which did change was the micro stutter. That's gone now. That was more apparent with remote play, but now with cloud streaming, that's not there as long as you've got a good connection. It is buttery smooth 60 FPS gameplay on your 1080p screen, which is fantastic and what you really want, as you will really enjoy the cloud streaming experience if you're playing a game you really like on the portal, because it's fast, you get into the game really quickly, it runs really well. And that is the thing which surprises me, is that it runs better than remote play, I would say, in my personal experience. Sometimes with remote play, you get the odd bit of breakup, as if there's a slight signal, drop or interference, not enough to cancel the game, just a little bit of pixelation here or there. I really never see that with cloud game streaming. It seems to be a much sharper, more crisp image. If any of you out there have a PlayStation 5 and the portal, let me know, do you think that the cloud streaming beta seems to run better than remote play? I definitely think it does, and I know some of my buddies who have this, they also think that's the case. So it's a strange one, whereas you think playing locally with your PC via your PlayStation via remote play, would be the best way to play the game, but it seems like that's not the case right now, which is kind of weird. Now, just some hands-on gameplay for you all to see what a whole bunch of different games look like running via the cloud streaming beta. And honestly, it's absolutely awesome. They all look super crisp. I would say the resolution looks spot on here, especially as you can tweak it. If you are experiencing slower connection speeds, you can change the resolution down to 720p and then fire it back up to 1080p. When I first got the cloud streaming beta, I didn't realize a whole bunch of the games were actually at 720p and they still looked super sharp, until I realized, oh, I can put it up to 1080p, which I did, and it's slightly sharper. I don't think you really notice the difference because the screen is so small. If it was on a bigger screen, you would notice the difference, but it's a nice option to have if you're maybe lagging out. Put it down to 720p and then the game should hopefully run smoother for you. But that being said, I've not had any problems like that at all. It has been top notch. It has been really, really good. But there is some problems which we will discuss later on in the video. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but we'll get to that in due time. Now, with regards to what type of games to play on this, there is a few I do recommend. So you can see I've got cool borders running here on the background. Old PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PS3, Vita games, PSP games, they're actually all fantastic on this smaller screen, because if you fire up something like Dino Crisis or, Cool Borders on a huge LCD 4K TV, it doesn't look very good. It has not aged well, but if you play PlayStation 1 games on the Portal, it kind of looks like the way you remembered it when you were a kid. So it looks nice and sharp. So I would really recommend fire up Cool Borders, whatever, and enjoy it on the Portal. All your big AAA action adventure games are really good as well. Your Ghost of Tsushima. I know they look unreal on a big TV, but they're very immersive and good fun to dive into and continue your adventure on the Portal. Remember, there's also the cloud save syncs. So whatever position you get to in the game here, you pick up and play on your PlayStation 5 and you will just pick up exactly where you left off. Same when you finish on your console and you fire up on the cloud, your save's right there. You just pick up at the last point where you were. So that's really nice and a really good, quality of life enhancement. It just makes the whole process a lot better and smoother and seamlessly, so you can pick up and play your games on your Portal or on your PlayStation 5. Racing games are also really good fun on the Portal, especially as you have all the Dualsense controller features. You've got your haptic feedback, you've got your analog triggers. All of that stuff is really, really good. Adaptive triggers as well, sorry. But when I was playing Assetto Corsa, when this first launched, it did look a little bit noisy. It didn't look as sharp as it does on the console. I assume that is just due to streaming bitrate. But then later on, I've played Redout 2, which is probably the fastest racing game I've ever played in my life. I recommend you all give it a go. It is on the cloud streaming beta, and it is kind of like Wipeout. So if you like the Wipeout games, I'm sure you'll love this. It's so goddamn fast. You have no clue what's going on half the time, and it looks super sharp. Like, I'll put some footage on the screen for you all to check it out, but it looks amazing. So I'm not sure what was going on there. Maybe that was just early days and a bit of optimization, but if you notice it in some of these games, that will be due to bitrate and your connection. It's not getting the information quick enough, but on the whole, it's really good. I recommend it. The only thing which is definitely not good on the Portal is when you're playing games which have a lot of small text. It can be really difficult to read them on the small screen. I've played a few games where you're going through like a tutorial or you have to read something and it's so small, trying to see what button to press or what it's trying to tell you. So just keep that in mind. If there's any games that are really text heavy, small text, you might be better playing that on your 65-inch LCD 4K TV. And the big thing you will all probably notice is the speed of just getting into your game versus remote play. So this is for people who have a PlayStation 5. If you do have a PlayStation 5 console, connecting to remote play and then having to boot up your game can take a little while, whereas with the cloud streaming beta, you turn it on, the library's there, click the game, and away you go. I would say pretty much 100% of the time, you will get into your game quicker on this than you will connect to your PlayStation 5. So that's a big one, just convenience. It's really easy, nice to pick up and play and jump into whatever game you want. Now let's talk about some negatives here, and then we'll talk about what's next for the PlayStation Portal Cloud Streaming Beta. And the big one here is something which happened recently. I know lots of you were impacted by it because you left comments under my videos and in the community feed, and that was the big PlayStation Network outage. It was down for a full day pretty much, and if you have no PlayStation Network, you cannot access the cloud streaming beta. So this is even more important if you are a PlayStation Portal only owner. So you've picked this up, you are just going to play games via cloud streaming, and you don't have a PlayStation 5. If PlayStation Network goes down, you cannot access that cloud streaming library. You cannot play any games. The device pretty much becomes useless. I thought mine was bricked when it happened. Mine just had a weird white line across it and I could do nothing. So that was really, really bizarre, and we've not really had an explanation as to what actually happened. Sony just came out and said it was like an operational issue or something. So who knows what actually happened there, but it was just a bit of a wake-up call. that this kind of all digital gaming world can kind of suck sometimes. It is best when you can have your physical game, own it, fire it into the drive and just play whatever you like. So that's one to watch out for. The next negative kind of ties into that. And this happened to me more times than ever yesterday when we got the new PlayStation Plus premium update with the games dropping. I would say probably about 70% of the time I could not access the games. I wish I would have captured it on footage, but I didn't, unfortunately. And it would just always say my internet connection was not strong enough to play the game. And then I would go into speedtest.net, run some tests. I had 550 megabytes down and 50 up. So I had way more than enough speed. I don't know what was causing it. It was really weird. I don't know if the PlayStation servers were getting rammed with everyone playing the new games, but it's just a weird one. So there's a little bit of a reliability concern there. If that starts happening more and more with the Portal getting more popular and more people will just be buying this instead of getting a PS5, because it's a great way to jump in and play some PlayStation exclusives on an amazing device. It is a great device to play on. It's super comfortable, great screen, and it won't break the bank. $200, pretty good. So we'll need to watch that one, see how it goes. But it was just really yesterday that happened all the time. I was like, what is going on here? That only used to happen like every once in a blue moon. But here we go. Let's see what happens in the future. So let's keep an eye on that. Now, one other negative is that there is a bunch of features which you are used to on your PlayStation 5, which are not available when you're playing games via the cloud streaming beta, because it's still an experimental offering, as Sony calls it. So the features available during the beta period obviously might change and hopefully will get updated, especially as we leave the beta. But right now, game trials, the availability to stream games purchased on the PlayStation Store, system features such as party voice chat and game invites for select games, the create or capture button, 3D audio, and all in-game commerce are unavailable when you're playing games via the cloud streaming beta. Next one, I guess, is the cost barrier. So it's $200 for the device. That's cool, that's fine. It is what it is, nothing we can do there. But then it's that you need PlayStation Plus Premium to access cloud streaming because it's locked behind that. And PlayStation Plus Premium is expensive. It adds up month over month. Plus, if you cancel it or you can't afford it that month or you don't want to pay for it, you then cannot access cloud streaming. And I don't think this is going to change, unfortunately. I see so many of you leave comments saying, will this come to the essential tier? Will they let me eventually just play games which I have purchased digitally on the portal? And I think the answer to that will be no. They will let you play games you've purchased digitally, but you will still need a PlayStation Plus Premium subscription to access it. It's just kind of like what Xbox has done with Game Pass Ultimate. You can play a selection of games which you own, which are not on Game Pass Ultimate, but to access them on the cloud, you need a Game Pass Ultimate subscription. That's exactly what Sony's going to do, because it's just a way for them to keep you hooked in to paying a monthly subscription. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, with all this digital stuff, it's like they just want us to rent everything and not actually own anything. So that's the way these things are going. So another cost barrier potentially to be aware of there. I know a lot of you, it doesn't bother you at all, but that's not my job to tell you if it bothers you or not. I just want to present you with all the facts and you can make the decision. Now, the next negative is a very personal one. Some of you might agree with this, some of you may not. I personally don't, but I have seen a lot of comments about this, so I may as well bring it up to you. And that is, a lot of people do not like the games which are available on the cloud streaming beta. I think people are expecting a lot more of the big first-party Sony games and them arriving a lot sooner, kind of like what Game Pass does. They drop a lot of their games day one. Well, they drop all their first-party games day one into Game Pass. Sony hasn't taken that approach. I don't think they should take that approach, but a lot of people don't like a lot of the games that are available. They think a lot of them are rubbish. There's not enough big hitters, but there has been more getting added recently. We have God of War Ragnarok recently, and we've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor. There has been some big ones, you know, dropping in recently, so it's looking positive for the future. But if the game's there you don't like, you're not going to like paying for cloud streaming to play these games you don't like. I like them. I think it's good. Let me know what you think of the cloud streaming library. It could be made better, but it is what it is right now. Next ones we should get added. I think we should get some of the Horizon games possibly next. Maybe in the distant future we'll get Astrobot. There's still lots of cool games which can be added, so fingers crossed they head our way soon. Speaking of the future, what is next for cloud gaming? Let's discuss. So we already mentioned what games could or should be added next, but to add on to that, I think there's a big opportunity for all the older games library to come on over to the Portal cloud streaming. So think about all the PS1, PS2, PS3, PSP, PS Vita games. It looks like PlayStation are kind of working their way through porting all of these games to a PS4 or PS5 version. And when they do that, it should hopefully be available via the cloud streaming beta. There's so many amazing games there, and that would just be God tier, let's get real. And so many of the PS3 games are locked behind a streaming service on the console right now. If we could get access to them on the Portal, that would be fantastic. The next big update, which they are 100% working on, is playing your owned digital games. So you buy your game via, for example, you buy it via the PlayStation app, then you go onto your Portal and you can just play it. Or if you've got a PS5 like I do and you've got a digital library there, you could just access them via cloud streaming. But like I said, this will be behind the PlayStation Plus paywall. They're not going to allow you just to own a Portal, buy a digital game, and then stream it for free. They won't do that. There's server costs involved here, and this is the way they'll lock you in and make money. So it will be coming our way, but you will still need PlayStation Plus Premium. I'm pretty positive that is what is going to happen in the future. Is this a feature you'd like to see? Let me know in the comments, because I think everyone would love this to be added. I would love them to take this a step further and have some way they could allow us to play our physical games on the PlayStation Portal. How cool would that be? I know you can do it via remote play right now, but via the cloud. So it gave you a token or it allowed you to play the game digitally if you had it in your disk drive, and it registers and it allows you to do it for like a week or two. I don't know. Something like that would be cool. I don't see that happening, but I can dream. So the final verdict: is cloud streaming ready on the Portal? Well, I think it's pretty good. It is definitely a nice addition to the device and makes it a way better purchase. Would I buy the Portal on its own just for cloud streaming? I don't know. I'm a big PlayStation fan, so I'm maybe not the best person to answer this, as I always have whatever the PlayStation console is available at the time. I always buy it. So I'm not so sure. If you have good internet, solid good internet that is, it might be worth picking up just for cloud streaming only. And maybe even as a secondary device, like maybe your main console is Xbox or you're mainly a PC player, this is a cool nice to have to check out some of those PlayStation games on the Portal with all those cool Dualsense features, which you can't get anywhere else apart from on the PlayStation 5 console. So on the whole, it's a nice addition to the Portal. I'm glad it's there. And one thing I do really like is when a game I've purchased physically appears in the cloud streaming library. For example, Ratchet and Clank. Bought this game physically on PlayStation 5, absolutely love it. Then it appears in the cloud streaming library, and it means I've got a bit more flexibility to pick up on my save files wherever I like on the Portal when I'm chilling. No need to go and get the disc and put it into the disk drive. So it's just a nice to have. It's a nice feature for people like me, so I really like it. As I feel this complements physical game purchases really quite nicely. It definitely doesn't replace them. Physical gaming all the way, as we saw when we had that outage. These things become useless, but it is a nice feature to have. What improvements does the community want? What would you like to see happen next with the PlayStation Portal? Would it be some more games, some big exclusives in there? Would it be some new features getting added to the portal? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you're looking for some awesome games to play right now on your portal, check out this next video on screen.